I'm going to flag this because I always forget I want to ask about this because I have memories of this show from the 90s.
It's not about my rash, is it?
No.
Okay.
I always want to ask
the
about your
episode
rash.
started? Should I start the timer or should
No.
No, this is off the record.
We
There's
can talk
no way
about
this
after the
makes
end,
it into
but
the episode.
what is...
No, yeah, this is a safe space. This isn't going to be the cold open.
Yeah, definitely not.
Okay.
I want to ask about Farscape.
Eddie, I've told you never to bring that up on this show. Ever.
Wait, isn't Farscape... Oh, no, I'm thinking of the Far Side. Hang on. Okay, so let me look up Farscape.
The Far Side I like.
Farscape,
Yeah,
in my mind,
Farscape
without knowing
at all.
anything, is that it's like store brand Star Trek. But
Okay, that is what this looks like. Yeah.
Seeing.
But it was
And
on
none of these
Sci-Fi
people-
Channel, and it was from the 90s.
None of these people look very famous.
Oh my god, dude. This one
Wait,
picture with
Sci-Fi
the-
had originals even in the 90s. It is from 99. Wait, the Jim Henson Company worked on it? They did the...
That's so
They did
cool.
the Aliens, I guess. Maybe
Are
I
you
do
guys
have to watch
seeing
it.
these like dope mesh tops? Like, are you seeing?
It's very 90s. It's
very, very
good.
90s.
I
mean,
think
maybe
someone
we do
told
have
me
to-
this one was like that it was queer coded, like more queer coded.
Each episode cost more than $1 million to make in 1999. Oh, it's Australian. Farscape first ran on the Australian TV channel 9 network and in the US on the Sci-Fi channel, which they're using the old school SCI-FI, not SYFY that they now have. And then the YTV channel and on BBC 2 in the United Kingdom. Wow.
That reminds me, we should watch
Oh my
Red
God.
Dwarf. I've always wanted to watch Red Dwarf.
Yeah, me too. The series' original broadcast on Sci-Fi was noted for its erratic scheduling with hiatuses lasting months, often occurring mid-season. This is like watching an anime on Adult Swim. They get the first 26 episodes, you know there's only 26 more, and you wait 3 years to watch the end.
Is this about to rival? Is this about to rival the cold open, the longest cold open we ever had?
Wait, I have an
during the
idea.
David
What if
trilogy?
instead of us doing Star Trek next as a podcast, we do a podcast that's called like not Star Trek, and where we watch things
No, anything but
Star
but
Trek.
there's two
and
T's.
you tell me how
There's
it
two
would be
T's and but.
this yeah. And you
Tell me how it would be improved if it was Star Trek.
or if I had seen Star Trek, I would have such a greater appreciation for this thing.
Like, you know what? To hell with our podcast. I'm going to say it. I'm so excited for you to meet Garrick and Bashir. Like, I'm so excited, Eddie.
In 1996, Scholastic began publishing Animorphs. Over the next 6 years, Catherine Applegate and her husband, Michael Grant, under the pseudonym K.A. Applegate, produced 54 main series books, several spin-offs, and inspired a TV series, graphic novels, and a cult following. We can't tell you where we live. We can't even tell you our last names. But we can tell you our thoughts and feelings on this series, book by book. I'm Miranda.
I'm Eddie.
And I'm Chris.
And we are the Anidorks.
These may be kids' books, but we discuss dark themes and mature content. There may also be some explicit language. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, but what I'm going to say is we got to start the episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so
There might be a cold open in there.
There's something
it was
in there.
a long cold open. It was a warm
We really warmed them
Microwaved
up.
open, yeah.
microwave. Yeah, we nuked them. We
Yeah, we
nuked them.
nuked them. Ladies and gentlemen, we nuked them. Chapter 8. Chris, Chapter 7. You take all the Chapter 7s.
Yeah, you know, my whole life is a damn Chapter 7, never resolving. After meeting with the lawyer, well, I guess it'll resolve ultimately
To the
at some
tonic.
point, to the tonic at the
It has
end of the great fugue.
Everybody knows the 7th has the leading tone.
Right, the leading tone to an early grave. After meeting with the lawyer, all right, that's too dark. The leading tone to a well-earned grave.
Well-earned. I
There
dug
you
it
go.
myself.
I dug it.
Can we please do Chapter 7?
I saved $300.
I dug this grave with shake and bake. And I helped.
And I helped. All right.
Don't get that
Eddie
reference.
is so mad.
Family Guy? Is it Family Guy? It's always Family Guy.
It's
freaking
okay. They do use
It's
that
the
in Family
goddamn
Guy, but
thing.
it's just
Shake
an
and
ad.
bake.
It's just shake and bake. The shake and bake ads were like, I made.
Why
these
would I
pancakes and
remember
shake and
that?
bake. I don't know, Eddie. You're older than me.
Oh, wait, I did the thing. I
After
shouted.
meeting with the lawyer.
In
It's on a
1996.
different episode, so nobody will know.
In
All right,
1996.
In 1996, I shouted, God damn it, after meeting with the lawyer DeGroat and learning that he may shut the fuck up, that he may have a family to take care of him. Wow, we're waiting to get to the word Tobias here.
We're waiting for the
Tobias.
subject. Yeah, we're really, the
Yes.
subject is buried. They call it burying the subject. You know, I dug that grave myself. Sorry, go ahead.
After meeting with the lawyer, DeGroat, and learning that he may have a family to take care of him, Tobias decides that he needs space. He isn't ready to tell the group his news. He flies to the Hidden Valley Ranch of the Free Hork Bajir. Cut that one. That's a better joke.
Okay.
All right. Upon arriving, leave them both in. Upon arriving, Tobias is greeted by Jerahami Kedhalpak and their daughter, Toby, who is a seer. Smash that like button. They've been expecting Tobias because they need his help. One of the Hork Bajir children goes through the temple doors. Beck has gone. I'm like, dude, I'm breaking down.
Yeah, we got that.
Oh, there's a temple guardian right there.
There's a
That
temple
gives him
guardian
the
right
amulet.
there.
He's fine. He can keep going.
One of the Hork Bajir children, Beck, has gone missing. They fear he's been killed, or worse, made into a controller corpo. Oh, that's the end. Okay, cool. I had the wrong energy to ramp off there.
Hey, hand me the Bectionary.
The Bectionary? No. Wait, are you?
Yeah.
I got
No,
it right
no,
here.
no. Yeah, no. The rhyming Bectionary.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Here you go.
Tobias is like, he lists the things he specifically doesn't want from his dynamic with Cassie, Rachel, and Marco. And it's a fun little bit of, I always love when we get Tobias's view of Marco and his understanding of their relationship because it's so antagonistic.
Yeah.
And he says he doesn't want Cassie's hope, Rachel's concern, or Marco's analysis of the situation. I actually think there's more in there.
There's a lot of good stuff. I was thinking about it because it's sort of our group assessment of the book, because we always talk about how we get one of these every book, and we have it way late in the book, and it's all done in a hypothetical because Tobias already knows what they're going to do, which I thought was a fun sort of reinvention of the form.
Yeah. I didn't want to have to sit down and explain it to them all. I guess, too, I didn't want to have to deal with Cassie's hopefulness and Rachel's concern and Marco's abrasive skepticism. I didn't want it all analyzed and picked apart. I knew the routine. Cassie would make me go over everything, word by word, gesture by gesture, expression by expression. Cassie has an amazing talent for understanding other people and their motives. She would want to understand all she could about the group. Marco would be different. He would barely listen before he started zeroing in on all the problems and inconsistencies. Rachel would pace restlessly, angrily, looking for some way to make me safe, looking for some action to take. Jake would wait and listen calmly and judge. I didn't want my friends thinking for me. I didn't want them to decide what I felt. I wanted to do it alone. This was mine, my problem, my hope, my choice.
Yeah.
I flew and flew.
Nothing about Axe.
Circling higher and higher on lush thermal.
Yeah, okay. I see now. I was like, why are they still going? And then I saw thermals and I was like, oh, okay.
Specifically lush thermal.
Yeah.
This feels like an instance where Axe would go, I don't have enough information. I don't know enough about humans. This could be normal. This could be weird. I'm leaving it to Prince Jake to make the decision. So like,
Yeah.
but I actually think it would be interesting to hear from Axe as a person who's separated from his family right now and whose brother died. Like, I think it would be interesting to hear from Axe as a person who is waiting every day with the hope that in a few years his family, his family, quote unquote, may show up.
Yeah.
Like, he might actually have some interesting takes on that. But in terms of whether or not this meeting was legit, he's not going to have any like real information to give. He's just going to be like, I don't really know.
Yeah. Marco, he comes down hard. He's so warm in his description of Cassie. It's actually really nice to read because we don't get a lot of Tobias Cassie content either. There's a lot of respect there, and then Marco would be different. He would barely listen before he started zeroing in all the problems and inconsistencies, and he calls it his abrasive skepticism. Like there's
skepticism.
It's true, but it makes me think about Jake's take on him. Was it just in the David trilogy? He says something about Marco, about how people think that Marco is cynical or whatever, but he just like moves from A to Z faster than most people do.
Yeah.
And like, sometimes he assumes the worst, but like he cuts out all the prattle and is like, I don't need to know about what he was like talking like or how he gestured or anything. This is too good to be true. Cut that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That must be part of the David trilogy, but it feels like textually,
so long ago.
It just feels like it can't be.
Yeah, it might have been earlier than that.
Yeah, he would know right away you have to eat the babies. He doesn't have to go through this whole...
yeah.
But you're right, it might have been Jake's...
Hey, Marco like asks... Marco asks Tobias every day, it's like, you ate babies today, right?
Yeah,
you gotta eat babies.
One of the first things he asked...
vitamin B up. Yeah.
You remember he used vitamin baby. He used to make the roadkill jokes. And so obviously Marco was like, I'm a cooler hawk. I don't need to eat roadkill. And he's like, well, this brings up, I didn't want to act interested, but like now that you've brought it up, like what do you eat? And like so I was wondering, like, is there like a cold calculated logic to the animal world? Like, do you eat the babies?
I have to talk about the textural shift of going to the Hidden Valley with the Hork Bajirs.
Yeah.
Which we're gonna like. We may as well like dip into chapter 8 from here because like we've learned that one has gone like missing, Beck, and the seer Toby. Like we get all the same stuff that we were getting in previous books where they just keep really, I don't know, the language around Hork Bajirs is very uncomfortable.
It's rough.
It's just an uncomfortable thing to be constantly reminded that we're expecting them to be dumb, that we're like, that they're somehow lesser, but they're well-meaning and they have this
Well, they were designed to be lesser, like, Chris. They were designed to be dumb.
That's the other thing. Like,
okay, now do you want that on a fucking soundboard?
Well, it's true. Here's the thing, though. They literally were. Like, they had...
No, but the thing is...
For the
like,
safety of the people who made them, like, they were handicapped on purpose.
No,
it's like a horrifying thing.
But the thing is, but it's like the thing about creatures and entities and things that exist is they don't exist to be consumed as you understand them to be valuable.
That's true.
Right? So like a Hork Bajir, created or not, merely exists and is, and to underestimate and to constantly berate them with low expectations.
Yeah, no, I completely
just like,
agree.
And I know that you guys agree with me, and you're also making the point that like literally they were like literally.
I'm more pointing that out because
designed.
It doesn't make me feel better about it, and I think it's funny.
No, it feels worse somehow. But also we saw that living in their own environment, they were fine. They had a sort of culture. They had, like, we didn't see a lot of it because it got wiped out right around the time we got there. But they acted like they had none of this stuff, and they had it in their way that the Andalites didn't understand, and that humans don't understand.
And that the Quern or whatever didn't understand. That they were trying to
Arn.
get rid of Arn.
I actually bet that this gets updated in the if the supposed Coogler Disney Plus adaptation. I bet they do a little bit of playing with it.
I don't know how you spread that rumor so successfully.
Well,
you leaked it to Variety.
Yeah. It's all fan fiction, but don't tell them.
I do wonder what they'll do with that. They'll probably make it like a language barrier, and seers just have like an unnatural ability with language or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like for some reason they're born communicators.
I love how the seers exceed the awareness. Like, in this book especially, and we're not going to get this for a long time, so let's move on to chapter 8, but you will see that the seer is outpacing.
Oh, yeah.
Outpacing, like,
our
humans
kids
who are supposed to be so much smarter.
Yeah, our kids
blah, blah,
think of
blah.
themselves as so far above the Hork Bajir and the seer, who is at this point, checks watch, 4 months old. Generously.
Yeah. All right, let's check out chapter 8.
All right,
Let's do it.
just take a
Ember.
quick
Take
look.
us
All
away.
right. Beck, the Hork Bajir child and folk musician, has been missing for a whole day. Sorry.
Good addition. For a second, I was like, how did Eddie anticipate your callback?
The Free Hork Bajir don't think that Beck could lead the Yeerks back to their hidden valley, but in the process of explaining the situation to Tobias, they reveal that they themselves have been leaving the safety of the valley. The Free Hork Bajir have been liberating more of their people from a secret Yeerk facility. They haven't told Tobias or the other Animorphs about the facility because they are afraid that the Animorphs will destroy it. If that happens, the Hork Bajir can no longer liberate their people from this facility. Toby fears that Beck has gone to this facility. If Tobias and his friends promise not to destroy it, they will lead the Animorphs there. Tobias leaves to discuss this with Jake. This actually, so just real quick, we talked a bit in our mini-sode, and we were talking about CJ's email and the book giving you like this platform to think and make choices about how well you think the Animorphs did, or whether or not their decisions were good or bad. And I talked about, the needs of the many, needs of the few, trying to prolong or trying to stop the war at the cost of saving people. And this was like forefront in my mind when I was talking about it. This idea that Toby knew that telling them about it, they would want to shut it down as quickly as possible because that was in line with their stop the Yeerks as quickly as possible mission, which is different from the Hork Bajir's mission of free the Hork Bajir and stop the Yeerks, and that Toby is thinking forward to a life after the war for the Hork Bajir.
Yeah.
Because the Hork Bajir's homeworld is no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone. They can't go back.
The Hork Bajir diaspora is real.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this just because I love that the Hork Bajir aims. I don't think we get enough of this, and the Hork Bajir aims don't necessarily line up with the human or the Animorphs aims.
Right.
Yeah. It's just a little bit of messiness.
No, it's actually one of the deepest parts of this book. It's like the closest thing to a Game of Thrones moment, where it's like just remembering that everybody has to be looking out for themselves. And it echoes this like war is real, zero sum.
Yeah.
Like sort of, yeah, it's expertly done here. It's
And
very good.
that the Hork Bajir were let down the last time they allied with someone.
Yeah.
They allied with the
Yes.
Andalites, and not only did the Andalites fail to help them, the Andalites never cared about whether the Hork Bajir came out of that conflict.
Yeah.
And so while they trust the Animorphs, maybe, and Tobias definitely, they don't know that they can trust their long-term plan to have considered what is best for the Hork Bajir, which is something that is very wise for Toby to be seeing.
Yeah.
And also, Tobias didn't notice, they said that the Hork Bajir breed fast, but Toby is like, did you not notice that there were a bunch more freed Hork Bajir? And he's like, I assumed either you made those or the Elemist did that. And they were like, no, dude.
It really,
No, they like
not
empowered
what
the people.
happened.
The quote is, "We make it happen. We go at night and raid places we know Hork Bajirs are."
Yep.
Like it's
They've been putting together these strike teams to go in and get Hork Bajir out. That's their goal, is to free the Hork Bajir until there are enough of them that they could put up a fight if they were ever challenged in the valley.
Yeah.
Because the numbers that they had in the valley at the beginning, if someone had challenged, if anybody, humans included, even a small group of humans had come at them with
a
guns.
stiff wind.
Yeah, so they are really in a tough position here, and Toby sees that and is planning for that, and is like, look, our goals largely align. We want to get rid of the Yeerks because they're enslaving the Hork Bajir. You want to get rid of the Yeerks because they're enslaving humans. That aligns. But we want to save as many Hork Bajir as possible, and that's not a priority for you.
yeah.
And so we're prioritizing that, and we're worried that if you show up, you're just going to, for lack of a better term, nuke the facility with as many Hork Bajir in it as are still in it.
So I was a little confused, and I think the book purposely doesn't state this because it asks you to think about some unpleasant things about the Animorphs. Is Toby's fear that the Animorphs are killing Hork Bajir, or that destroying the facility will mean that there will no longer be like a supply line basically of Hork Bajir for them to free? Which one?
I think they're.
I think it's a mix of both.
It's like a funny distinction to make because you're probably right. It's like they found a thing that seems to be working for them.
That's
they
nearby.
Don't want that to go away, but they also don't want Hork Bajir to be.
But I guess
it's like they have this specific location that they know of that seems to be close enough for them to pull off these operations. They do know of others, and they could do it at others. But I think to me, it seemed like the biggest fear was the Hork Bajir that would die in that conflict. But it does also just long-term cut them off from a system that was working to free Hork Bajir.
Well, the reason I'm making that distinction is because I think the books don't want to call too much attention to the fact that the Animorphs do kill, they just don't kill humans. But the Animorphs do kill Hork Bajir.
But I think it is like they're low key raising that.
Yes.
Here,
Yeah.
right?
No,
Is
I
that what
think
you're
they
saying?
are.
Yeah.
No, I
Okay,
think they
cool.
are for sure.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest fear is how many Hork Bajir are going to die in the attack on this facility, I think.
Yeah.
Well, you know, everybody walks around their life being so moral. They're like the moral relativity of everything. And then you're exposed with the realities of like somebody else being on the other side of something. And I think this book does an amazing job of setting that up.
Yeah.
And it's like, as frustrated as I was with that language around the Hork Bajirs being like lesser or stupid or whatever the words were, it is obvious that she's building that to then thwart it later down the road.
I agree.
And it's thwarted immediately in this book, but it's also like I am very impressed. I'm continually impressed with how much a book for children pays attention to like how much people think of each other.
I always
that's
say
like the hardest lesson you think as
my
a kid.
biggest praise of these books, as I've said again and again, and will continue to say, is how it does not.
That they have really cool covers, and Miranda, I think that's myopic and small-minded. I think it's
they don't talk down to their audience, and I think for the most part, it raised a group of critical thinkers. These books, if you read them at the right age, or even now, like it's really good for critical thinking and thought, and they're just really fucking good, dude.
I mean, although, if it wasn't, I want to hear about that too, but that's a discussion for another time.
I'm just telling you, Magic Treehouse
9.
never made me consider shit like this.
No.
That's true.
No.
That's true.
And that's why I'm saying we should burn those books. We should burn the Magic School.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Because I'm a critical
agree.
thinker. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, that is such a good joke. That is so good. Oh,
Chapter 9.
Oh, we missed our
take it
George
away.
Washington call out, by the way. Very important.
Oh, that's right. He
shit.
says they think
We
I'm
gotta
George
talk about
Washington or
GW.
whatever because he founded the valley or something. He says because he's their liberator, and I'm like, George Washington didn't really liberate anybody.
That's how I learned. He's the great
he really-
liberator, right? Yeah, George Washington. So,
Is that true?
No,
Did they
no,
tell
no,
you that
no,
in school?
no. Well, that's why he's
No,
crossing
that
the
was
river.
that's something even. Yeah, but even I'm looking back, I'm like, I don't feel like they ever taught me that George Washington maybe I guess he liberated colonists from the monarchy.
I will say, I have never heard him referred to as a liberator.
No.
I've in my entire life, growing up in the middle of bumfuck nowhere with schools that were trying to indoctrinate me, I cannot
That's
think
not-
of the time the word liberate. ChatGPT would agree with me.
That's not something I heard. No.
It's not semantically linked for me.
Chapter 9.
Chapter 9.
Tobias returns to his meadow. The other hawk is still there. Tobias knows that one of them has to go or both of them will starve. He sees the mother rabbit and her babies and knows the other hawk cannot see them yet from the angle where it is perched. Tobias strikes, and once again his vision switches to that of the baby rabbit, frozen with fear. Tobias goes hungry again, wondering what is happening to him.
This chapter is so perfect.
It's so perfect, and it's very deep. It's got a lot of
And it's very
texture.
short.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it opens, what I love is that it opens mourning the meadow. it just is very poetic in a way that the books.
He's been doing that. My Meadow. He's been doing that since the beginning of the book. It's like it's sort of like, if you think about it, back to the birthday thing. So like another popular series with kids this age, with girls this age at least, were like the American Girl books series, which were often diary type books that would begin with a date. And so Tobias doesn't know his birthday. He doesn't know what month it is. He doesn't know, but like he starts by stating the facts that are important to him as he exists now. It's as relevant to him to state Morning the Meadow as it is to write April 19th, New York City or whatever. Like these are the things that matter to him.
Yeah.
And I think that this line sort of sums up the whole struggle of the book. Not enough prey in the meadow, not enough for both of us. One of us had to go or both of us would starve, is the entire struggle that Tobias is facing about living between worlds and trying to separate these parts of his identity.
Yeah.
But there's another line in that same chapter just before, I'm pretty sure it's before, like where he's talking about the other hawk and he's like, I knew he saw me because if our roles were reversed, I would see him.
Yes.
He was wondering why. No, that was wrong. He wasn't wondering. He was a true red-tailed hawk. Hawks don't wonder. The question why is owned entirely by humans.
Yes.
At least on Earth it is. Only Homo sapiens ask why. The
scientific name of hawk. Yeah.
Jamaeacenis red-tailed hawks don't ask it at all. And another nice touch in this book is the flip book for this in the bottom right.
Oh yeah.
It's the same as the cover. It's Hawk Boy going to Rabbit. Yeah. Which just is like a metaphor for being both like more than prey and then becoming both in like an atemporal sense of like, moving.
And sort of like suspended as both at the same time. It's this, he's living as the rabbit and the hawk, but his rabbit form is actually sort of his human form.
Yeah.
His human form is where he's vulnerable. His human form is where he's searching for a home, a life, things where he wants to be taken care of. And his hawk form is where he is stronger, more dominant, but that's being pushed down in this book. He's not as strong, not as dominant, and he's regaining some agency in his human form. So they're blending a little bit in a way that he's confused about.
The last thing is just like, it just really like after he made that decision about the dinosaurs, where he made a really foul decision, no pun intended, like where it's like he, killed all the dinosaurs.
He did because it had to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just like, it's very Predator brain, but now we're seeing him like try and get some nuances.
Yeah, I have two thoughts. The whole Predator prey question with Tobias, just the fact that he was prey in so many senses in his human life. He had no home, no stable home. He didn't have adults looking out for him. He was like one of the more vulnerable positions you could be in as society, as like a child who's like is not being protected by anyone, and then to become a bird that is a predator that hunts to survive. That just is like, I love how that continues to echo through the series and what these two sides are wrestling.
Yeah,
how they're wrestling inside of Tobias.
I don't quite get how it plays into the anti-swarm agenda. But what was your second thing?
And then the other thought was just this idea that Tobias opens this book, and this is just going off of what you both have already been saying that he is a hawk. He's more hawk than he is human, that his human side is gone. And yet he's in a meadow with what he calls here a true hawk. Like he's just, that is not what he is. And he's a freak of nature is what I'm trying to say.
And he also like can't,
Eddie, I love your like bouncing back to the like intrusive edgelord thought that like comes.
Just a freak of nature, baby.
And this Tobias
you ready to ride this ride with me?
I'm a freak of nature, so why don't you kill me? Do you guys know the song Loser by Beck?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. Okay. I'm a loser.
I can't believe that little Hork Bajir wrote that song.
I know, it's incredible.
Yeah. But
with the rhyming Bectionary, you can write anything.
But also, like, he can't even really, like, he's saying, I'm a hawk. I have all these hawk instincts. I do all the things hawks do. In book 3, he was like, maybe I should live as a hawk forever, whatever. And yet still he can't conceive of the thoughts of other hawks without projecting the structure of human thought onto it.
Yeah.
He's like
Anthropomorphizing.
he doesn't want to own anthropomorphizing. But he doesn't, like, he can't do it. And like, I don't know. I talked about it a little in my notes, and then I remembered that Andalites have like universal translators in their things. Like, we talked about that. And so I was like, I don't know how it works, but I'm like, could he thought speak to the hawk is something that I thought earlier in the book when he's like, oh, that wouldn't do anything because he doesn't understand language. But I'm like, he doesn't understand language, but like he understands like hawk things. So as a hawk, could you like thought hawk speak? Like, could you send, like, messages that, like, you know, like, I don't know, some level of encoding feels like it should get through, but definitely not why. Like, the why of it all, it's like, if you have time to ask the question why as a wild animal, you're probably dead.
I feel like it might be like when I'm home with Yuka and Santiago is calling me on the phone. He's not home. And then I put the phone on speakerphone and Santiago speaks to Yuka and Yuka doesn't even sense it. Like, it's something about it, the sound on the phone versus being in the room with us.
Yeah.
Well, so like
the
thing about phones is that they reconstitute the sound into something that your brain recognizes as the same voice.
Yeah.
But it's
part of
not.
Why people often say, "Oh, I don't sound like that."
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, you don't.
It's not
like,
the same.
Yeah.
It's just the same enough that you, as a person who knows the voice, recognizes it. It's all converted into beeps and boops before it gets to you.
That's exactly right.
So, like, Yuka understands a level, like, hears so well the level of the voice, like parts of the voice you don't hear that are not coming through the beep boop machine, and is like, that's not my dad.
I like how you thought the last chapter would be 5 minutes, and yet
It's my fault.
No, but it was, for me, it was also
We've just embraced that
like,
this book we're going to go long on. That's all that's happened.
Yeah, this is a cool book. This is the book we deserve.
How could a book say more
chapters.
with less words? It makes no sense. Like, that's not how poetry works.
They needed 3 books to say that. Yeah.
To do the, yeah.
Chapter 10, 8 minutes. I'll read this within 8 minutes. The gang meets in Cassie's barn the next day after school. Tobias catches everyone up on the citation with De Groot, his cousin Arya, and the missing Hork Bajir child, Beck, and folk artist. Marco rants about how the Animorphs never get a break and does a bit about a bit of his trademarked flirting with Rachel. It's harmless, and Tobias knows that, but it still makes him jealous. There are so many mundane acts of physical intimacy that Tobias no longer has access to, shaking hands, hugging.
What does this even mean? I've never
It's a thigh job.
It means sex. It's a thigh job. Shaking hands, hugging, coitus femoris.
Oh, yeah, I guess it would mean that. Femur's the bone in your leg.
Yep. I gotta sit down. Jake lists the gang's priorities. They need to figure out if either De Groot or Arya are controllers, and they need to find this lost Hork Bajir child. Axe asks, I hate when you do that.
But he asks so many questions.
It's true. If humans, and he gets answers, and if humans will thank you. Axe inquires if humans will automatically assume that they've discovered an alien if they encounter Beck. And Cassie says, no. They could mistake him for a deformed person or someone who is very, very sick. A good person would want to help, Cassie says. Tobias points out that the average person may want to shoot it. Jake agrees and starts shooting all the animals in Cassie's barn. Jake orders Marco and Axe to smooch. We did the same thing. Our brains were melting at the exact same point. It's just incredible. Like, I hadn't even read this yet. And I hadn't. And I was like, I'm done with this. And then, like, And you were apparently done with it too. Jake orders Marco an axe to smooch. That is to scour the internet for sightings of strange creatures. He says that he and Cassie will go to the Hork Bajir Valley as wolves and try to track back scent. Rachel and Tobias are sent to learn more about DeGroat and Arya. Jake asks Tobias how many days until his birthday. Tobias guesses 3 days, maybe 4. It's really exciting. It takes the group a moment to realize that he isn't kidding. He generally doesn't remember his fucking birthday.
Okay, he did it.
All right,
I'm gonna be honest. That's like the whole. I don't know that we need any more, except that Riven gets a shout out in this chapter.
Oh yeah, Riven gets shouted out. Yeah, and Nintendo. But Riven, the wonderful puzzle sequel to Myst, the greatest game ever never played, is.
I haven't played Myst. That's true.
I played.
I gotta
Myst
play
recently.
it one of these days.
It was good. I played it as an interim to Blueprints. I played the.
Yeah. I will say though, Marco's like, oh, our lives have become like Nintendo games where we're always walking down some dark hallway and there's all these enemies we have to shoot or whatever. But then he's like, why can't we get a nice peaceful Riven? And I'm like, I always found Myst and Riven very creepy as a child.
Yeah,
there's like almost no one around, and like it's just it's like these enchanting landscapes with items that you don't know what they do, and like
I mean there's a room in Myst where like some bad shit has obviously gone down, and it is one of the creepiest vibes.
And I'm like, I would take a Resident Evil where I know exactly what's happening and all the monsters are like, I know that the monsters are coming for me, but they're all like, only 16 bits.
Marco's whole thing about wanting to go on vacation is so startlingly close to our idea for the musical that I'm like, oh my God. Like, and I keep saying I'm going to release part of it, but you guys, everybody on Discord is going to have to come over and I'll just play it for you in person, because I can't get a recording that I'm like, okay,
why are subscriber numbers dropping?
If you subscribe at the $300 level, we'll let you come over to our parents' house.
Yeah.
No.
We can't tell you where I live, but we can tell you where our parents live. All right.
I just want to hit.
Are we filing bankruptcy?
I want to hit the how lonely Tobias is that he's staring at.
Yeah, that's so
Marco,
real. Like the jealousy of like Marco. And,
I can't even put my hand on her shoulder. I can't just from exist next to her.
Yeah.
To jump out of Tobias's jealousy and into his compersion, I love that for Rachel and Marco though. Like I love that they've gotten to the point where like it's not as where like I feel like when they were younger, 4 months younger roughly.
Yeah, roughly.
4 months
they
younger.
were like constantly 4 months younger. They were constantly actually a little bit at each other's throat, and now it seems like they actually have like kind of a good healthy dynamic.
Yeah, it's like the flirting used to get on her nerves, but now she knows that it's part of his coping mechanism to like do it jokingly, and she's like, oh, okay, we're doing a bit, and like they both perform the bit so that they can get through it.
Yeah.
A thigh job.
Okay, chapter 11.
Chapter 11. Tobias feels weird about thigh jobs. Tobias feels weird about being paired with Rachel. After all,
spit take, Eddie.
She's like such a hottie, even before she's morphed into a bald eagle, and yet he knows she caught him eating roadkill. And then she goes to morph into a bird, and somehow Tobias finds her even hotter. Well, actually, he says that watching her morph into a bald eagle is like watching her soul emerge through her flesh. So, like, spiritually hot, but still. As they fly to Arya's hotel, Rachel catches on something is up with Tobias, but he doesn't want to open up. After Rachel presses, Tobias reluctantly tells her about the other bird trying to steal his meadow. Before Rachel can ask any follow-up questions, though, they reach the hotel. This isn't quite true. I wanna note Rachel asks, crucially, one follow-up question, which is, what, is he bigger than you? Mm-hmm. And that is the worst.
I actually low-key love that for Tobias
so good.
as a sub. It's so good. It's like, yeah.
What, is he bigger than you? Because, like, it sounds like she's going to insult him, but I'm like, she's just waiting. She's like, you want me to beat him up?
Yeah.
You want me to beat him up for you? Do we need to make a plan?
Yeah.
Do you want a plan to beat him up? I'll be there.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
But also Rachel's big sexy male eagle morph that I'm definitely not attracted to, but oh boy is it cool that she's bigger than me. Haha, can a bird be a little spoon asking for a friend?
Yep.
Yeah, dude, no, seriously. And then he immediately launches into this thing where he's like, trying to admit I wasn't talking about that, but I'm still talking about that. You know how Ben Franklin wanted the national bird to be a turkey? He was so wrong. Eagles are so hot.
Yeah.
We're done talking about that.
Oh my God. It is like Tobias is reading. It's like all he has is a social studies book to read. Like that's what he found.
Yeah.
Well, that and whatever frickin' taxonomy book had or whatever, like, how
Whatever
do you
had
know
the Latin name of the red-tailed hawk.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
It was weird. So he says, was she more beautiful to me because she was a bird now? No, of course not. For one thing, eagles and hawks don't mate. It's still interspecies, not hot to him. For another, her eagle morph is male. I believe
I like how that's
Scholastic
secondary.
required that line.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's second. Like, no, KA was like, no, it's already explained because they're different species. And, like,
And they're like, no, you have
but
to
then,
put in.
like, and then, like, here it's like, yeah.
But he specifically says...
Later in the book, we actually do get an acknowledgement that children are gay in
Yeah, he says gay out loud.
Like that gets voiced
I was
for the
blown
first time in
away.
this book. So it's like it's actually like it's actually a little bit mind blowing.
I almost feel like to be able to say gay, they had to make sure to specify that Tobias wasn't the gay person they were talking about.
And yet we all know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he says she spread her wings so much broader than my own.
Yeah.
I'm just like...
He's super into it, dude. It's like, yeah.
Also, I did a little... I have heard the Ben Franklin thing, too. And I'd heard some of it. He never actually pushed for it to be like a real thing, but he did say that bald eagles were birds of bad moral character. And he praised the turkey for being a courageous bird because apparently they're like Native American turkeys would like attack British soldiers or something.
Nice.
During the Revolutionary Wars. So he's like, we should acknowledge that. They're true American birds.
I like turkeys. I think they're cool.
Too.
And they're weirdly big and they're a little scary.
They
when you
are.
have
They're
them
creepy
on them.
too.
Yeah. So Tobias and Rachel, not to change the subject, Tobias and Rachel are flying to check out Arya?
Arya.
Why am I getting that name so wrong?
I don't
That's
know.
insane. All right, Arya. They're going to check out Arya. That's their job right now. And why did we get a room number for Arya?
So that we could find her, like we could count up the floors and find her in the building. Because they find out she has a building that has a view of the city or whatever.
2306. Got it.
But
Yeah,
I had a thought about this. I think it's actually next chapter that they mention that specific bit, but they say she's on the 23rd floor or whatever. And I wonder if they had to try to figure out if the building skipped the 13th floor because some buildings in Western countries skip the 13th floor.
Yeah,
So I'm like, they could have been looking at room 24 or whatever.
Shall we check it out?
Yeah, we could check out.
Let's
We
do
could
it.
check out
Let's do
chapter
it.
12 to
Let's do it.
14 even. Chapters 12 to 14. Oh my god,
No, this
that's a
sounds
lot
like
of
it's gonna be a
chapters.
team effort.
I think it's going to start with Eddie.
Yes. Chapter 12. The hotel is a skyscraper, and Arya is staying on the 23rd floor. Tobias and Rachel gain altitude in search of her room. The glare of the sun is making it difficult for Tobias to see into the rooms, but Rachel has no trouble at all with her bald eagle eyes. She finds Arya's room and discovers that the woman claiming to be Tobias's cousin is changing. Good thing Tobias can't see her after all. Then the glare passes and Tobias sees Arya, a woman in her late 20s who doesn't look anything like the family that Tobias knows. But then again, he doesn't even know what his father looked like, does he? Tobias can't figure out why anyone would want to take care of him. His mother had disappeared and his father had died when he was little. Sometimes he wonders if the whole story he knows of his existence is an illusion. Maybe he'd never even really been human. Arya takes a phone call and then leaves her hotel room. Tobias and Rachel will have to tail her. Popcorn Quicks.
Arya enters a cab. Tobias comes up with a wild idea to keep up with her. He and Rachel morph cars to keep up. He and Tobias will ride the lights of the cop car. They climb 20 stories and then swoop down to catch the vehicle. Success. But then the coppers get a call and start to pass the cab. Uh-oh. Tobias and Rachel release the cop car, both trying to hitch a ride on the helicopter passing over at that exact moment. Only Tobias succeeds, but it's not that helpful. The cab pulls off onto the dirt field almost immediately, and Tobias has to ditch the helicopter. Oh well, popcorn and burp.
Tobias and Rachel have arrived at Frank's Safari Land and Putt-Putt Golf. There's an offensive new sign in front of the building announcing a new exhibit. The creature on display sure sounds like it might be Beck, the missing Hork Bajir child. Tobias and Rachel will have to investigate. Bald Eagle Rachel steals the toupee off the guard to distract him. Then she and Tobias fly into the Putt-Putt pirate ship to demorph. No one notices when they sneak into Frank's Safari Land. It is a very offensive sign.
Yeah.
I will, so to go back to chapter 12 a little, just for a second, Rachel has a line, so they're talking about the fact that she can see into the building. He's like, oh, well, your eyes evolved for water, mine didn't, I eat mice and rabbits. And she's like, yeah, rabbits. And she's like, rabbits? And he's like, yeah, he's like trying to like justify it. And she's like, no, yeah, I was just going to say they sound tastier than mice. I mean, people eat rabbits, or at least they used to.
Yeah, good catch.
And she says, in the old cowboy movies, didn't they shoot rabbits and cook them up with a mess of beans? And I just want to say that Rachel desperately longs to be John Wayne, and Tobias desperately longs to be her horse that she is closer to than any human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is their relationship.
I do think there's something, I think chapter 12 is the most interesting of these three that we just hit. It's weird in a good way. Mostly, I'm just interested in the moment where Rachel points out that Arya is there and she's changing, and Tobias can't look because of the glare, but also he's like, uh-oh, I'm not supposed to look. And Rachel's like, you're being such like a good person, not peeking at this person, like a good guy. And it's just such a weird moment to include. It's not a moment we don't get much acknowledgement that these are like people who might be interested in looking at someone changing.
Yeah.
It's handled differently than when one of them is morphing and like it's on very gendered lines that they have to look away. It's just like, and it's also potentially for Tobias's cousin. Like, it's just such a weird moment. And I feel like it's in this book. It makes sense that it's in this book because there's a lot going on with Rachel and Tobias, and who are you allowed to be attracted to or not? There's just like, it's in the mix of whatever's going on in this book, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think back to like how pleasantly refreshing it was to have like female desire on display in book 12.
Yeah.
With like Cassie and Rachel very clearly being physically attracted to Jeremy Jason McCall.
Yeah.
But like, this is a similar thing where like, when they talk about it amongst themselves, it almost feels like a school thing. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, like at gym, you would go split up. Boys go to the boys' locker room, girls go to the girls' locker room. That's just like how it is. You don't really think about it. But like, he's specifically asking Rachel if it's okay for him to look now because he had looked away. He's like realizing that he will be able to see because the glare is going away. And he's like, oh, can I look? And she's like, oh, that's like very nice, you know, but you're it's like you're being nice about being a peeping Tom because they're still spying on her. And he's like, hey, I'm never a peeping Tom. And he says, I cannot use my superpowers for evil. And I'm like, I actually like the idea that Tobias has thought about what constitutes a misuse of his abilities because he's like, oh yeah, I use it to pick up spare change all the time. But like, he's had to live with this. And it's like, oh, he could use this to like look in girls' windows, and he's had a talk with himself about that not being appropriate, and he doesn't do that.
Yeah.
But it is, you know, this is supposed to be his cousin, but if she's not his cousin, she's a controller, so she could be completely unrelated.
Well,
so, like,
we don't even have to get far down that road, right? Because it's
Eddie brought it up, so I was just addressing that.
But it's like, if they're talking, if he's being proper Rachel, then the whole calculation is probably Rachel, wouldn't you say?
And you still shouldn't look at your cousin while they're changing, or even really your sibling or anyone, really. You shouldn't look at anyone while they're changing. Rachel really probably shouldn't be looking either, except to make sure that it's safe for Tobias to look. Like, I don't know.
But there's really, really an amazing thing in this chapter because, but when he's imagining her as family and he's picturing what his life could be, he goes back into that self-insecure, self-identity kind of like, who am I kind of moment. And it's just, I don't know, there's a thing in here that's like profound from almost a sci-fi perspective, or not profound's too much of a word, but just like a wild texture that these books are always hitting wild textures, like the swarm, the anti-swarm agenda, sort of the anti-mass transit stuff, all that stuff. There's all these like weird details that are like just part of reality. But there's one that this one in particular, this distinction is especially interesting just from a sci-fi perspective. And like, it's when he refers to himself as a freak of technology. It's just such
alien
a weird thing because it's like,
well,
but actually he doesn't.
He does.
Yes, he does further specify, but still less than the alien technology. Like the technology and the alien technology point to this is not that I am not supposed to be.
Yeah,
that is really, really. Just hits so hard. Like it's like a self-hate that is really I don't know. I don't want to get too dark about it, but it's just so deep. Yeah, it hits so hard.
Well, it's like a further thing because he says I was a freak of nature, and then he's like, no. He says, nature at its most perverse could not create me. And that feels like the edgy
Which is totally incorrect, by the way.
True. But that feels like the edgy teen bullshit you tell yourself when you're really upset with yourself. You know what I mean? You're like, no, nature couldn't have accidentally made something this screwed up. Someone intentionally created a monster. You know what I mean? Like, but he's also right in this instance. Like, technology and a technology that is not human is what allowed him to be this thing. And then further interference by an extremely powerful creature whose powers we don't understand.
When you say he's right, that's an interesting thing because what he's saying could be verifiable. But what is what he's saying correct? No. Right.
What he's saying is true, but it is not right. You're correct.
Right, yeah. Which is an awesome nuance.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Ed? You had a question.
Oh, I was just going to ask you to say more about it, which then happened. Miranda continued that.
Okay, awesome.
Wait, why is it true but not correct? Is that what you said? True but not...
All the facts are true, but it's like the sum total that he's coming up with is a negative... connotation of himself when it doesn't need to be.
Yeah, and like I don't know if you guys, there was a good podcast. Lulu Miller had a podcast about the lesbian seagulls. Did you hear that podcast? Okay, so like there were these lesbian seagulls that were discovered on an island where like two female seagulls would take care of lots of eggs. Like there was just some thing happening on this rock out, and they found it, but they found an example. And there's all these examples of homosexuality in nature. Yeah. That's a real thing. And, sex with animals is obviously less godly than the Bible wants to. Like Leviticus says monkeys only. But the point is, what's really interesting is that was a time when queer people... Does
the Bible say monkeys only?
I haven't read it recently. It's kind of all foggy. I've been reading a fanfic of the Bible and it's monkeys only. But I guess my point is like there was a time when that story about the lesbian seagulls was so validating because they could point to this thing that was verified by science and say this thing was happening.
Yeah.
And it's like a way of then seeing yourself in nature, right? It's representation of queerness in nature. And because for whatever fucking reason, we're so concerned with like nature being the ultimate truth, that then becomes the cornerstone of like, is this right? And it's like, and I think that's the distinction between true and right. It's like, what he's saying is verifiably true as Miranda stated, but it is the incorrect conclusion to reach. Like, it is merely the way that the words all land together. And when said cynically sound one way and when said the other way are like perfectly supportive.
Yeah, it's like, oh, wow, you're like a totally unique and wonderful creature that we love and support.
Right.
Versus
you're a proper freak of nature or technology.
Versus
right.
I am the only thing that like me that exists, and that means that nothing like me is supposed to exist, and I am bad and dirty and wrong.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I don't want to make too high a point out of it because I think everybody has to make decisions about who and how they are and where they and them stop in terms of their own involvement with how they're like. But the distinction of technology is such a texture, and K.A. threw it into this book that was already so dense and like this is a real powerhouse. Yeah. This book is a real powerhouse.
There's definitely a lot of interesting things and some roads I don't necessarily want to go down in terms of like trans allegories and things like that, because we'll just get bogged down in the weeds of like talking about things. But like, I think that also has like a sort of trans allegory to it, because it's like, oh, I'm not just this thing, I'm this thing that changed, if that makes sense. But but I think the thing that I can't speak to is like, is even as a non-binary person, like it's so much to be like, I'm going to change and go over here, and that's like a part of a journey that many of our friends have taken and stuff like that, and it's a beautiful thing. So I can't really speak that's the thing, is like, I don't want to speak on an experience I don't have, but I do see that in this, and him having this moment of like, there was an intervention, and does that make it worse or wrong?
I'm afraid of getting tattoos. I kind of, it's like, I don't want to go to the doctor on a good day.
Yeah. Oh, true. To move to the car chase, just real briefly, Rachel grabs on with one talon but misses with the other when she lands on the cop car, and I feel like that's a callback to her book 22, where she lands on the crossbeam. And she lands with one foot and then regains her balance. And like, but this time Tobias has to talk her through it because it's bird shit. And like, she knows human shit, but he has to talk her through the bird shit. So like, I liked that. And then,
well, and that also seemed like a cute part of their dynamic too. Part of the push-pull.
It was also just a really fun scene, and that she tried to be like, it was still really cool when he like got the helicopter, but then it didn't end up being needed. Like,
the car chase was so silly, and I feel like it's another moment of that just being there to add lightness. But the fact that Tobias did this whole helicopter thing, that it wasn't even necessary on, like, it happened within a number of sentences, yet it felt so dramatic, and then didn't turn out to be necessary at all.
Well, it's like they had to make a quick decision because the other car made a turn. Yeah. So they were like, oh, this is how we'll deal with it. And then the car immediately stopped. Yeah. Like, so it's like they could have just let go.
Yeah. I really like it because it's like, they were like, no, we don't have time for a car chase. Yeah. It's got to end.
Yeah. And also, like, I don't know how they got to a dirt pull-off. Like, I'm imagining this in like a far outside the city, but they were just in the center of the city. It's very confusing.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Maybe it was like near, sometimes airports don't pay.
Also mountains too, like if there's any sort of mountain and you have to go around it, like, I don't know.
It does make me feel like somehow we landed right next to Crazy Helen, was a thought that I had. Like I was feeling
I don't think Crazy Helen would put up with this kind of stuff. I think she knows what an alien is, and she would not. Yeah, because she's out in the desert.
The Badlands.
I assumed
the Badlands.
I assume her house is like, it's like, you remember when the house is in the tornado? She's like halfway up a tractor beam. It's like,
but also like, I don't think she would put up with the kind of shit this guy puts on his signs.
No,
for his his like
Crazy Helen's
freak
an ally,
show.
Dude.
Yeah,
she's
like,
amazing. Yeah. Her name's fucking Crazy Helen. She knows what it's like.
She's the only one making sense around here.
She really is, dude. I relate so hard to Crazy Helen.
I love Crazy Helen.
Hey, Helen.
Thanks for listening to Anidorks. We'll be back soon with lots more to say. Until the Andalites return, or at least until next time. See you soon!